L'chaim. Good morning, everyone. Wanted to include you in a very, very, very special time in my life. We're about to celebrate our anniversary. I want to talk to you today about how does one celebrate their anniversary. So first of all, mazel tov to all of you who have upcoming anniversaries, celebrating milestones. The month of Sivan, l'chaim to everyone. But I'm going to focus not exclusively on my anniversary, which is coming up actually, but specifically on the anniversary of the Jews. It's your anniversary. So tell me, what anniversary am I talking about? We know Rosh Hashanah, we start courting God. We start dating God. Comes Pesach, we're engaged. When do we actually get married? When does the Jewish people actually sign the ketubah? Which holiday? Hi, Lynn. Good morning, Shirley. Good morning, Arlene. Welcome to my anniversary celebration. But I'm asking the question, when do the Jews actually celebrate their anniversary? We have engagement period. We have dating period. Yeah, all of us, most of us online have been there. But when do we actually celebrate our anniversary? When was our chuppah? When was the reading of the ketubah? When do we make the commitment for good or bad or the ugly? Right? Till death do us part. All that stuff. When did that happen? Arlene's right. Shavuos, which is coming up this Sunday night. I know this is strange to have a cup of wine in the morning. It's cranberry juice. I don't drink wine in a good day. Definitely not in the morning if I want to keep my head above level. But hi, Ava, good morning. Barbara, good morning. I just actually want to make a shout out to all of you who've contributed to our charity. You know who you are. Thank you so much. Very much appreciated. It helps us keep our wheels turning and our shul going, and we can give back to the community. So thank you for everyone. If you have not yet given to our charity, you have a few hours left. Go to chabadmarkham.org/giving. I'll put the link soon, and you can, yes, and you'll be able to, good morning, Evelyn. Again, thank you so much for contributing to our charity. Very, very, very much appreciated. So l'chaim to the anniversary that's coming in. I'll put that down. We'll first start off with Tehillim, Yona Bas Chaya, Rivka Bas Freda, Karina Bas Malka. Anybody else want to put down a name of someone that we should be davening for? Feel free to put that down. And we'll start with I think we'll do today chapter 23. I want to give a bracha that my nephew, Menachem Mendel ben Sorarella, who's right now fighting in Gaza, they should be able to finish up and bring home our hostages, and him and all his friends should be able to come home safe and sound, and an end to this war. Believe me, nobody wants the war. Moshe Eliezer ben Devorah Esther for Fuah Shalema, please. Yes. Thank you, Eva. Okay, here we go. Ms. Merla Davida Denari Esther Binas Deshi Abitseni Ame Menuchas Hina Haleni. Nafshi Yeshovi Vacheni Gamalik Sedek Leman Shemo. Gam Kielach Begate Amovis Lo Irara Ki Ata Imadi. Shiftacha Mashantacha Hema Yanachmuni. Tarach Lefanai Shochonegat Sarai the Shanta Hashem and Rashi Kaisi Rivaya. Achto Vechezed Yudifuni Chayai Koli Mechayai. Shafti Beis Adonai L'Arch Yamim. L'chaim to everyone who just joined, Elaine and Clara. And I think I missed some of you. Naomi, Boker Tov, hi. Good morning, Evelyn. L'chaim Helga. So it's a mazel tov. But it's also your mazel tov. Yes. I started off the conversation by saying, hi Helga, good morning Esther, saying that this is not just a regular anniversary, although my anniversary comes around Shavuos, but we are celebrating your anniversary. This is the holiday that made the commitment between us and our husband, known as God. The Jewish people are considered the wife, the bride. God is the chatan, the groom. And so we're going to be celebrating our anniversary this Sunday night. L'chaim on a coffee. Shimshon Aryi ben Teba, Gil Miriam bas Chana, Chaim David ben Etta, Shifra, Elisheva bas Sarah, Vera bas Sarah. So, before we start, give me a thought on how everyone is feeling this morning. Good morning, Dorit. How's everyone feeling this morning? It's a gorgeous day. We're getting ready for the holiday coming up. It's Shavuos coming. On the other hand, we have still our hostages that are still stuck in the tunnels. We just celebrated a beautiful walk for Israel, and we put on over 500 people tefillin and gave out about 100 Shabbos candle kits. There were 56,000 strong Canadians. Yes, we had a few idiotic pro-Hamasniks on the side. They were drowned out. They were booed. It was such a non-thing. The achdus, the unity was palpable. And it's usually around this time of the year when we are getting ready for Shavuos. Now, I started off today by saying L'chaim, but also because so many Jews come to Shalom Rosh Hashanah. The synagogues are packed. Hey, which holiday has the most Jews in synagogue? Put it down in the comments. Which holiday has the most Jews present? All over the world, not just Canada, all over the world. Put it down in the comments. I'm sure you know by now, the holiday that gets the most Jews, there you go, Yom Kippur. No Jew would dare stay home. It's like, why do you come to shul? You're not religious. Where else should I be? It's Yom Kippur. So we all show up Yom Kippur, Rosh Hashanah, for a day of fasting, a holiday that we sit literally 25 hours and pray, and then we wonder why Jews don't want to come back. Because to unaffiliated Jews, Yom Kippur. So Judaism is what? A day of fasting, a day of praying all day, wearing sneakers. That's not a religion I want to be part of. I'd rather go dancing but they're missing out on the beautiful holidays of Sukkot, of Shavuos. Now, Shavuos, my friends, is our anniversary. And so in honor of anniversary, I want to just tell you about two programs that we're doing at the shul. For those of you who are able to come, Sunday night, we're having Shavua TED Talks and a big milchik meal. You're welcome to sign up at chabadmarkham.org. And Shavuos morning at 11 o'clock, well, we start davening at 10, but at 11 o'clock, we have a big celebration where the children come and adults come, because adults, you're equally Jewish. You equally have to celebrate Shavuos. We have to listen to the 10 Commandments. It's our anniversary. Think about it. I'm going to ask you women, it's your anniversary. Your husband is excited. He puts together a whole special thing for you, and you don't show up. Do you even dream of not showing up at your anniversary party? Yes or no? How many women here would dare miss their anniversary celebration? Thumbs up. You'd all be there? Of course you would. And yet, Hashem put up a big Shavuot celebration. The menu is dairy, cheesecakes. We at our show, we have a big comedy show with the story. We have actors and actresses and a whole celebration. We're like the #1 destination for Shavuot, so you're welcome to come. But imagine if you didn't show up to your own party. Who would dare do that? But so many Jews, Monday morning, going to get up and go to work, and they're going to totally skip Hashem's and ours celebration. So here's to all of you. Please show up to the party. And for those of you who joined late, l'chaim. I could drink this too. Delicious. Okay. So in honor of our anniversary, I thought, what would be more apropos than to discuss How many commandments did God give us? How many commandments did God give us? 10. We're going to discuss the 10 commandments of marriage. And I can assure every one of you, because you're like me, we need to work on our marriage every single day. Am I right? Do we have to work on our marriage every single day? Yes, we do. Every day we have to. If the marriage was good yesterday, today you got to work on it again. And I'm speaking absolutely open and honest with you. We all can improve every day. So I thought, let's take the 10 commandments apart and dissect it and really, make this a very real holiday where the 10 commandments resonate with you, not only as a Jew, but as a wife, as a partner in a relationship. Okay, so we'll start off with the first one of 10 commandments. And if you know what it is, put it down in the comments. Anochi Hashem Elokecha. I am God that took you out of Egypt. Let there be no doubt, God says to us, that I am your God. There is no other God. Today, people talk about many different religions, and they all have names for their different gods. Our God is Hashem Elokim. And Hashem is saying, just like I am your God for eternity, we have to go into our marriages with a very clear awareness that if I stood under the chuppah with my husband, that's my bashert. That's my anochi. Yeah, maybe I was young. Maybe I was immature when I got married. Maybe I grew, I changed. My husband grew, he changed. But we have to keep each other involved in our growth because we made a commitment. You're my bashert because you stood under my chuppah with me. So Anochi, remember, without a shadow of a doubt, I know that you are my bashert. Are there going to be bumps along the way? Possibly, of course. But that's because I have to grow and I have to become better. And we're both on a journey of growth, of improvement. Anochi, by the way, does anybody know what language the word Anochi is? Anochi means I, but in Hebrew, the word Anochi is Ani. So why would God start off all the commandments with Anochi? Anochi was Egyptian. It's an Egyptian word that means I. But why would God start off the 10 commandments in the Egyptian language? Because everything else is in Hebrew. And the answer is this, as a very strong lesson. In some point of our marriage, if not many times, we're going to think, wow, my husband is so different than me. He doesn't speak my language. I'm a woman. He's a man, right? Mars and Venus, we don't speak the same language. We still have to appreciate this foreign language, uncover it, delve into it, focus on it, put in the effort, and say, it doesn't matter what language you speak. We are one. We made the commitment to each other under the chuppah, similar to Mount Sinai when we stood by the mountain. The commentaries say that God lifted the mountain as if it was our chuppah. So there you go. We stood under the chuppah, Hashem said, Anochi. We're different. I'm God, you're human. We might not understand each other, but you're always my wife. And God never, ever dropped us, ever. And hopefully we never dropped God too. So the same thing is with relationship. We teach ourselves, this is my spouse, even if it's a different language, even if I don't understand the male dynamics, I'm going to put in my effort. And why do we have to say, who took us out of Egypt? Why didn't God say, I'm the God that created the world? I mean, that's a lot more dramatic. That's a lot more dramatic. I am God that took you out of Egypt. I mean, it's nice, but it's not nearly as divine, as powerful as creating the world. So why did God focus on you, who I took out of Egypt? And I think this is a very, very powerful and potent lesson. God is telling us, I took you out of Egypt. I want you to remember that where you come from is very important to your essence. Have you ever heard of the concept childhood influences? Give me a thumbs up if you've ever heard of that concept. Childhood influences. Anybody? So childhood influences really focuses on where we come from before we're married. And everything that occurred to me as a child, I'm actually bringing into the relationship. So when I'm standing under the chuppah with my husband, it's not just two young adults. It's four people. It's myself and my husband as young adults, but it's myself as a child. My husband is a child. Everything that occurred to me as a child, I am bringing into this relationship. And so is my husband. Remember where you came from. You're not just starting here under the chuppah brand new. No. You're bringing all your baggage and luggage and influences and experiences with you into marriage. And that is so, so focused and so important. Why? Because what happens in your marriage from here on will always be affected by your influences as a child. A little example, if your father did certain things in the home, his responsibilities were, let's say, the cooking, the homework, the laundry, putting the kids to bed, and your husband came from a home where his father just went to work and brought home the money, he won't really understand the responsibilities of the husband. He knows the role model he had is his dad. You're expecting a different image. You're expecting what you saw. So you both bringing in those influences. If we don't communicate that, it can be very, very trying and very challenging because each one of you is bringing in what you are expecting from your relationship. So the key is, remember, you came from where? You came from Mitzrayim. What took place in Mitzrayim? What was the role of the wife? Some women were stay-at-home moms. Some women went to work. They had to share responsibilities. Wow, that's very interesting. I gotta have a mind shift here. My husband expects a woman that was always sitting at home, baking cookies and waiting for the children to come home. You grew up in a family where your mother went to work. Everyone came home together and there was equal responsibility. So these are very strong awarenesses that we have to share, but it's doable. It's all about communicating and being very real. Share that insight with your spouse. Number 2, anybody know what the second of the 10 commandments is? Do not have other gods before me. Now, can you see how that would reflect in a modern day relationship? We're saying all the 10 commandments are somehow connected to a typical marriage today here. So how would that reflect? Do not have other gods before me. And feel free to put down in the comments what you're thinking. But the way I see it is, don't compare other husbands to yours. That's the worst thing we can do to a marriage, is to compare someone else's husband to yours. When couples sometimes go out for a night out and they invite another couple, and everyone's, judging the other one. Everyone's summing it up. Oh, did you notice how he took her coat? My husband didn't even notice I'm wearing a coat. He pulled out the chair for her. My husband sat down without even realizing. His wife, she got all dressed up for this event. Look at my wife. She's wearing flats. She's not even wearing high heels. Why couldn't she get dressed up? The danger of comparing spouses is devastating. it can literally create a break and a shift in the whole relationship. Don't compare spouses to the other, because that's the first step to disintegration. Chas v'shalom. So Hashem says, don't have any other gods. You married me. Let's focus on what is great about me. Let me focus on what is amazing about you, because no one has the perfect spouse. None of us are married to angels, and none of us are angels. We all have our mishigasin. We all have our idiosyncrasies. So does our spouse. And as the Baal Shem Tov said, you marry the person who is a reflection of you. If you see a problem in your spouse, look in the mirror and see it in yourself. We need to do our own tikkun, to do our own fixing. That's why we come down here in the world and marry our bashert. So together we can complete this soul experience and make a great marriage. So, of course, knowing that each one of our spouses have our mishigasin, when we go out with friends, everybody's on their best behaviors. Everyone looks cool. Everyone looks well-dressed. Everyone's being polite. We don't know what goes on behind closed doors. Take your spouse that you stood under the chuppah, that you said anochi to, and together celebrate what is good about your spouse, what is amazing. And maybe today, after this class, take a piece of paper in the quiet of your, wherever you are, in the home, in the car, write down all your husband's virtues, just like God does about the Jewish people. Believe me, I'm sure there have been many times that God rolls his eyes and says, what kind of nation did I marry? What kind of people are these? They're so stiff-necked. They have so much attitude. They're always asking for more. And I say to Hashem, you're so lucky we're still sticking around with you. But that's me. I think Hashem is really lucky he married us. I don't know any other nation that would stick around. We love Hashem. With all of what's going on with us, with all of the anti-Semitism, we still would never throw in the towel. And I'm sure Hashem loves us too. He knows our milas, he knows our positives, he knows our virtues, and we know his as well. But we have to do the same thing in our own marriage. Write down what you can focus on, the good in your husband, all the things that you are so grateful for. And the more you internalize what you are grateful for, the idiosyncrasies fall to the side, because nobody's perfect. We also have the third of the 10 commandments, which is do not say, what is it? Do not say God's name in vain. Any idea how we can translate this into a relationship? Do not say God's name in vain. So we know we're not allowed to use God's name if we're just cursing or just, flippantly using Hashem's name. Jewish people are very careful with our language. I know today it's very in to, say whatever you want, whenever you want. It's supposed to be cool. It's not. It's very unfeminine. It's very ungodly. But it's not only ungodly, it's actually a sin. The third commandment says, do not say God's name in vain. In a relationship, how does that translate in your marriage for you and your husband? Now that we're celebrating our anniversary, for those of you who just joined, good morning, Debbie, good morning, Bonnie. We have to think about, how do we use our words in a marriage? So when I was a young wife, I think maybe 1 month married, I was a cynical girl. I grew up with a bunch of brothers, and we always used to, rub each other, right? Like, little kibitzing here and there. It's okay when you're one girl with a bunch of brothers, but in a relationship, cynicism doesn't work. And I had to learn that when I was young, and a young, newly married woman. I'm being very vulnerable I'm being honest. It's true. It was something I had to work on, that my words matter. And I had to think a few times before I said things in the beginning. It took me a long time to unravel my cynical approach. Couples today that, the word is they shtech each other. They laugh, they poke fun. They'll get a little giggle from a friend. Oh, my husband, he has 2 left hands. Who talks like that about a spouse? It's funny. Even if he agrees he has 2 left hands, you're going to openly say those words in front of someone else? Do not say God's name in vain. We don't poke jokes at our spouse. So when my husband and I give the courses for brides and grooms, this is a focus of one of our classes about being very, very aware that our words matter. Guys, we're living in a generation right now that we see how words matter. We're living in a time where there is so much negative language in the streets. And even if it's not accompanied by physical action, words can be devastating. They fill you with such negative energy, with such trepidation and upsetness and worry. Words matter. And in a marriage, it's 10 times more, because it's someone that you're intimate with, and you are using words that literally can cut through the soul of a relationship. When Hashem says in the 3rd commandment, do not use my name in vain, he's insinuating to us, use your words delicately, wisely, with sensitivity. Do you know this is on a hugely different extreme? But the Rebbe was always my guide when it came to relationships, not only as a Rebbe, as a tzaddik, but as a husband. After the Rebbe passed away, someone approached the caretaker of the home, who was a Lubavitch fellow who lived in the Rebbe's home for many years. And he was like the guy who took care of things, the shopping, the driving. And he was a very nice, observant Jewish man. And someone said to him, can you tell me, you lived in the Rebbe's house so many years, what did the Rebbe call Rebbetzin Chaim Mushka? Because Rebbetzin Chaim Mushka, as you know, thousands and thousands of children are named after her. I myself have 4 grandchildren named after her. 4 grandchildren and 2 daughter-in-laws, right? There's a Chaya, there's a Chayele, there's a Mushka, there's a Musi, there's a Chaya Mushka. There are so many different versions of the name. So someone asked, what did the Rebbe call her? After all these years, I have a granddaughter, Musya. Is that what the Rebbe was called? Rebbe called his wife? I have another granddaughter, Mushka. Was she called Mushka? I have another one called Chaya Mushka. What is the name? And the man said, I don't know. So the person said, you were in the house for so many years. You don't know? Like, are you okay? Like, you don't know? He says, I honestly don't know. He says, come on, stop being like silly. Just tell me, you were in the house. The Rebbetzin were married. They lived together. What did the Rebbe call the Rebbetzin? By what name? He finally said this. The Rebbe never called her name. What does that mean? If the Rebbe was sitting by the table and his wife was in the kitchen, the Rebbe never said, Musya, I have something to share with you. The Rebbe stood up and walked to the Rebbetzin and went to her softly and spoke to her. I never, ever heard the Rebbe call his wife from across the house, across the room. Now that's a huge level. Honey, you have a phone call. Debbie, there's someone at the door. Can you get the door? Malka, can you get me a drink? Chaim, do you mind just bringing up the laundry? Right? We always do that. And we think, what could be wrong? And there is nothing wrong. We're not on the level of the Rebbe. But think about, to the extreme, how the Rebbe respected his wife. When you respect a wife or a husband on such a degree, you'll never use your wife's name in vain, ever, or your husband's name. So being aware of the word we use, of how we are so careful. And the next level is being aware that when we speak to others, we don't speak about our spouse in vain. What does that mean? This is a troubling trend in our generation. Women will sitting together or men sitting together and they'll just kibitz about their spouse. Oh my God, you won't believe what my husband did yesterday. What an idiot. Unheard of. How do people do that? There's a fellow that was at work that overheard two men talking, and they were kibitzing about something that their wives told them. And he realized it was his story. They must have heard it from their wives, who heard it from his wife. She shared an intimate part of their relationship with her girlfriends, who later repeated it to their husbands, because that's what people do. And he had to hear it again. Do you know how shaky that relationship became? Almost impossible to have saved it from a divorce. Because where is that commitment we made at the chuppah? I'm going to end off with this, because we'll continue this next week. Do you know that at the chuppah, we walk around, the wife walks around 7 times. And there are some women livers out there who are like, I'm not walking around my groom 7 times. Let him walk around me 7 times. I was at a wedding where that happened. It was the most humiliating experience for the family. We were a guest. My husband was not marrying them off. It was a couple that we did not prepare for the wedding, so I cannot take any responsibility. We were just there as guests. The parents of the groom were religious, but the rest of the family wasn't. This woman, maybe she prepared for the wedding with a Rebbetzin, I don't know. But when it came time for her, when she was up under the chuppah to go around, she stood there and she's like, I'm not walking around. There was silence in the synagogue. Absolute horror that this spectacle was taking place in front of 200 guests. This beautiful bride about to break glass and get married to this very handsome boy we knew him from our show. She was refusing to walk around, and the rabbi couldn't do anything. Now let me explain to you what it means when a woman walks around. She is building the home. Every time she walks around, she's building another floor, another layer, another layer. And when she finishes building that home, because the woman is that keret habayis, she's the foundation, she steps into that home, into that circle. And at that moment, they both make a commitment. We don't leave that circle. We don't betray our spouse with words, with cynicism, with secrets, with intimacy. No matter how great your girlfriends are, no matter how wonderful your sisters or your mom is, betrayal against the spouse is against Judaism right here. 10 Commandments. We do not step out of our circle. We do not say our spouse's name in vain. So on that note, you only got to the 3rd commandment. We'll continue next week. Oh no, next week is Shavuos. So we'll continue the week after Shavuos, because hey, even if we celebrate our anniversary on Shavuos, we can still work on our marriage every single day of the year. L'chaim, l'chaim, everybody. Have an amazing week.